Hello, this is the Porgcorner with your hosts Mark and Steven. We talk comics, film, books, television, science, and gaming. We come from different nerddoms. Steven lives and breathes Star Wars, and I'm a Superman and DC fanatic. We also touch on the Marvel Universe and other sci-fi and fantasy franchises. Now, let's get to episode 13, our Godzilla King of the Monsters review. The newest American adaptation of Godzilla was released in 2014 to mostly positive critical reviews and audience reception. That film, directed by Gareth Edwards, received one consistent criticism, that it was too much of a slow burn, that we didn't see Godzilla enough. King of the Monsters addresses this criticism by featuring Godzilla quite a bit. In the years since the first film, Monarch, the secret organization that has kept track of Titans, as they call them, have traveled around the globe and identified at least 17 of these Titans. An extremist environmental group decides that awakening the Titans is the only way to save the Earth from mankind's overpopulation and trashing of the planet. They view unleashing of these Titans as giving the Earth back to their rightful inhabitants. This sets up a showdown between two Alpha Titans, King Ghidorah, who would cause a mass extinction of the human race, and Godzilla, who was our best shot at surviving. What did you think of the 2014 film, Steven?
So we're gonna start with We're gonna start with the 2014 movie. I guess I'm gonna have to agree with the critics.
Yeah.
That you didn't see Godzilla enough, but I will kind of say, in comparison to this one, I did like that there was a little bit of mystery.
Okay.
So apples to oranges at this point, because one's already been done and it's been talked about for 4 or 5 years now. I don't know, something about it. Looking back now, I do enjoy the mystery of not seeing the monster. Like it's a monster that's bigger than skyscrapers, and we can't see it. We never saw it.
They hit him pretty well in that film.
They did, yeah.
He's as tall as a 30-foot skyscraper. They hit him well. Yeah. Well, I think I loved that first film, the 2014 film. Mm-hmm. Going into it, I mean, I'm a fan of Godzilla and these type of films, regardless. But it felt like Jaws. That was the comparison that a lot of people had at the time, the slow burn aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I felt like he made it work. I would have liked a little more Godzilla in that film.
I think that's what it is.
Just a little more.
Maybe that's what was missing, is that there should have been more Godzilla fight.
Yeah. I mean, they just held off a little too much. Yeah. But this film definitely overcompensates for that. For that 2014 film. In fact, there might be too much monster fighting in this.
Maybe. We'll get there.
Well, I mean, is that kind of the impression that you had initially? Like that it was overwhelming?
This movie, I don't like this movie. I did not like this movie.
I knew that.
You knew that.
I liked the film.
Yeah, you did. But you like you just said, you like Godzilla, you like giant monster movies. It wasn't great. Even the fights.
It's your review. You can be as honest as you want.
I'm being honest. I am being honest. I mean, in my opinion, I strongly feel it felt like the Meg. Have you seen the Meg?
I have not seen it. I know of it.
Okay, well, again, giant monster movie, oversized shark, right? The movie, the Meg and this movie, both of them, the human aspect of it takes the movie way too serious. They're like totally convinced in themselves that they can resolve the world's problems by using these oversized monsters as playthings. And they're just like okay with it, like
it's very Jurassic Park like.
Yeah, and at least Jurassic Park makes fun of itself in the movie. Yeah. Like it picks on itself just a little bit, like we've done something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's why we're confining it to this island and making it into a theme park.
Right.
Instead of just being like, look, we made dinosaurs alive and now they're eating people.
I will say, like, to piggyback off that, like, there is an element of the 2014 Godzilla film and this King of the Monster film taking themselves very seriously in terms of the characters that they're trying to make us care about. Mm-hmm. And when you go that route, when you try to be super serious with this stuff and it doesn't land perfectly, then it's a big miss. You have to hit it out of the park when you go that route.
Yeah, and this was a miss. Like, I feel... Yeah, just like you're saying, I think they were trying too hard to make us care about these people.
Yeah.
We don't care about the people. We're here to see Godzilla throw a monster through a building. Like, that's why we were here to watch this movie.
Right.
So I do feel that they didn't need the people, honestly. You just needed them to kind of progress the movie just a little bit.
Right.
To kind of give us some like verbal cues of what's going on. But in this movie specifically, they just kept repeating themselves.
Yeah.
To drive something home that didn't need to be driven home. Like, it was just so redundant.
They really, in the first film, the 2014 film, they played up a family. They followed a particular family, like a husband and wife couple and their father, essentially. And there's a lot of time spent on that. In this film, they follow another family,
Yeah.
a husband and wife and their kid. And there's a lot of time spent on that. And what I was saying with like the comparison between these two films that take themselves seriously and another legendary Monsterverse film, which is King Kong, that came out, I think, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That movie did not take itself that seriously.
No, it didn't. It made fun of it the whole time.
It made fun of itself. It was just a fun,
right,
adventure, ridiculous film.
Like, this is not real life.
Right.
This is a movie, so it's gonna be a great movie because of the fact that we're just gonna be ridiculous about it.
And that was probably the strongest one out of this whole monster because it didn't take it had serious elements to it, but it had freaking John C. Reilly.
Right.
Like,
right.
It was a great casting choice.
Right.
He had some really good lines in it.
Yeah.
So let me fast forward. I was going to ask this later, but I feel like it's an appropriate question now. They've completed filming of the third film of this Godzilla trilogy, Godzilla versus King Kong. It comes out next year.
Okay.
And if you have the super serious element of Godzilla versus this more lighthearted element of King Kong, are you now looking forward to that film? Do you not care?
I just hope King Kong shoves a tree down Godzilla's throat, like in the 60s.
So you're taking sides. You're rooting for, like in the meme.
Like in the meme, like the Kong's just like, eat your vegetables, and just shoves it in his mouth.
This is the way to get you into monster films. Just meme them.
Just meme the whole thing. Yeah.
I'm gonna put you on the side of Kong. It sounds like you're gonna root.
Yeah, I'm gonna root for Kong.
Okay, I'm gonna root for Godzilla. I think he's too much to overcome.
In this movie, do you think that in the next movie that that Godzilla will retain his newfound power?
Oh yeah.
This like super atomic power that he has now? Or do you think that was like a one-time shot? Like he was just totally juiced up?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think he'll retain it.
You think so? You think it's a secret move now or a special move?
I think he just keeps evolving, man.
See, I just didn't know if it was something that was kind of he absorbed nuclear power or radioactive power, and then he expels radioactive power. So could he only expel what he absorbs?
I see what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
I see what you mean. So in this film, basically, the only important character, or the only one that I really cared about was Ken Watanabe's character, and I forgot his name in the film, but like he's a scientist who said "let them fight" in the 2014 one. Mm-hmm. Like that's an iconic line now from that film, iconic or infamous, whatever. And he's in this film too, but he sacrifices himself by essentially going down into this underwater city, Atlantis, and I wanted to talk about that, and blowing up a nuke to revive Godzilla, essentially, because Godzilla works off of radiation.
Yeah.
Like that's his.
He's a radioactive monster. Yeah.
Right. That's like his source of power. Mm-hmm. So he blows up a nuke underwater, and that revives Godzilla. So he saves Godzilla, so Godzilla can save us.
Yeah.
And then he does his super nuclear move to kill
Well,
Ghidorah.
because he receives more radioactive power than he's ever had. So he's got this new secret move.
Right. And now that you mention it like that, I think you're right. Maybe it is a one-off thing where he has to have that.
He's got to be nuked to get it
to do that.
Because they showed him laying near a lava flow, so he's getting I don't even know what's giving out that radiation, but it's near lava, and and they would say it would take years for him to acquire enough to be back to full health.
Right.
So to give it all to him instantly, it's basically like hitting somebody with an adrenaline needle.
It's like if you threw the sun at Superman.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
threw Superman into the sun.
Right. Like, he just suddenly gets real powerful, but does it burn off a little bit?
Yeah.
As he uses it.
So that makes sense. I mean, and so probably they'll have to depower him a bit to have Kong have a chance in the next film. Okay. So let's talk about your favorite monster in this film that you do not like. So you have King Ghidorah, who I mentioned. He's the big bad. Yeah. He's literally the big bad. He's larger than Godzilla.
Big bad.
There's Rodan, who is like the fire demon.
He's
they
the
call him.
fireman, yeah.
He comes out of a volcano, which
Yeah, he
is
does.
awesome. There's Mothra, who kind of acts as a protector of Godzilla.
It's Godzilla's girlfriend.
Yeah.
They say it. They say this is Godzilla's girlfriend.
Yep.
They communicate and everything, so that's why they're...
He's the king of the monsters. She's the queen of the
Queen of the
monsters.
monsters, you're right.
So
That's
you're
right.
Totally right. So those are the 4 main characters.
Yeah.
Those monsters.
Honestly, I really did like Monster Zero.
King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah, yeah. Because I don't know, 3 heads. It's just really cool. But because they can't even get along. You know, like any 3-headed monster, they've got 3 different ideas of what to do.
Right.
And,
I did like that.
They're just constantly. But then, so mad. I don't know. Spoiler. One of the heads gets broken off or chopped off, and then it grows back. And I was just like,
It's like Hydra.
ugh.
It's like the Hydra monster. It's the same thing.
No, it would have been better if 2 heads came out. I agree.
Oh, you mean
I
if
agree.
it split?
If a break made 2 more, sure.
Right.
But the fact that it just broke and then a new head replaced itself, like that's regenerative powers.
So basically, you're saying this movie would have been a 10 out of 10 if King Ghidorah.
I think they hit every mark that made it bad for me. Yes, everything that could go wrong, they did. They did it wrong. Yeah.
Okay, so you like King Ghidorah. I really like the King Ghidorah character as well. I like monster movies, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert in these films. But he's been Godzilla's #1 enemy for the past 50 years in these films.
Even I know that, and I don't know anything about these.
Yeah,
about monster movies.
Yeah, and he's the reason he's such a good villain for Godzilla is because he's technically more powerful.
He is, yeah, and that makes for a good battle. You know, for the it's an underdog story, right?
Yeah,
you know, can he do it? Yes, he can.
Godzilla basically only beat him when he has our help.
Right.
So it's a good lesson in collaboration between
Yeah.
a giant monster and humans.
But to that point, they reiterate that a lot in the movie, because if you look at some of the imagery, like I'll go backwards from the end to the beginning.
Sure.
They show them when they're in Atlantis, which that's a whole nother thing. But when they're in Atlantis, they show like the wall paintings, and they have the humans like bowing down to Godzilla, and like they have some of them kind of giving stuff to Godzilla. So they're showing us that like with our collaboration, we are great together. And then the doctor, who was the research doctor, I forgot her character name.
Yeah.
But she showed pictures of other wall cave paintings and things with Godzilla, and again, it's more humans living in peace with Godzilla, and that was trying to reiterate that if we work together, we are, safe with him.
Yeah, he's not a bad. He's like any wild animal. Like if you don't antagonize him, he'll coexist with you.
Don't poke the bear; it'll just go walk by and eat the fish. You don't poke it.
Right, exactly. Just let him do his thing. Don't bother him, and we're good. You know, and and again, Godzilla. He started out as a kind of environmental meshes in a sense, like the creation of the character. Like he's built off radiation, nuclear weapons, all that stuff, and it's talking about how we need to be better stewards of the environment. If you will. It's like an environmental lesson. Let's talk about, because we teased it a bit, the part you hate, the part I love, the Atlantis underwater scene. So, what do you hate about this scene?
It's not only because so many things. It's Atlantis suddenly exists.
Yeah.
We found it on accident following Godzilla. It's also Godzilla's home.
Yeah. Yeah. What's wrong with that?
So we're just okay with the fact that Atlantis exists, and it's Godzilla's house where he lives is in Atlantis, in an air pocket in a building inside Atlantis.
Let me cut you off there. The suspension of disbelief.
Yep.
This is a monster movie. It's a movie about 300-foot tall monsters fighting each other.
But like, I get that, but like, why did they have to bring in every single element of like disbelief in science fiction? I mean, I'm gonna spoiler again. Monster Zero is from outer space.
Yeah, he's an alien.
Okay, now we got aliens. We got Atlantis. We got oversized lizards running off of radiation. Like, and then the kicker. This one really gets me. The tunnel system that allowed Godzilla to travel the hollow Earth theory.
So I'm on the fence about this one because I feel like the movies are making that a joke, like it's a reoccurring joke. I don't think they're serious about that being how he travels.
No, it is serious.
You think they're serious
about
that?
Yes, because back to my very, very first point, the movie is ridiculously redundant. The professor who's in who knows the most about this Hollow Earth theory, suggests it at the beginning of the movie, and then later is like, I knew it! My theories are right! Because he's in the submarine that goes through one of the Hollow Earth tunnels, and they end up on the other side of the world.
How they find Atlantis.
Yeah, and how they find Atlantis. Like, jeez. Like, they cannot believe that they did that, too. Like, everything is in this movie.
Okay, so let me back up a bit. So the Atlantis thing is one thing, okay? I don't know how common that is in other Godzilla films. This might be the first time, maybe not. Correct me if I'm wrong, audience. But the King Ghidorah being an alien is not new. Like, that's pretty well established mythology.
No,
like,
no, I agree with that.
He's always an outside force.
Sure, I agree with that 100%. I'm just saying we have too many science fiction-y weird things happening all at one time.
Okay, fair. There's a lot going on. I, as someone that loves the Atlantis mythology overall, like when I see it in films or books, I love that stuff. I would have liked to see more of a deep dive into that, maybe in its own film. Maybe going over the history of Godzilla or something, a prequel. It's
called Aquaman. No, I agree. I do. I love Atlantis too. I really do.
Yeah.
I love the mythology of it. I love the modern belief that it did or does still exist.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a city underwater and we're going to find it one day. Like it's like trying to find Bigfoot. We're still out there hunting for it. Yeah. So I love that Atlantis is a thing. I just don't think it needed to be in this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of glossed over. And then one of the things I hate, the Indiana Jones element / Tomb Raider element / Uncharted element is these films or games, they always find these lost civilizations. You're like, oh my, this exists? I want to like explore this, and then they blow it up.
Right.
like nuke goes off, and then everything's gone.
Atlantis gone. Yeah.
Like they find it and it's gone.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
I hated that.
Yeah, like we need an Atlantis movie.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I don't want it to be Godzilla related. I don't want it to be Aquaman related. I mean, it makes sense that it's Aquaman. That's part of his story.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
No, like an action-adventure film or an adventure film in the style of Indiana Jones that's centered on Atlantis. I agree with that. I've always wanted to see that.
It should be Indiana Jones.
Right.
Like, they should not have done the Crystal Skull.
Right.
They should have done Atlantis.
So the concept of Crystal Skull, not to get too sidetracked, was great because it was El Dorado, another Atlantis-type lost civilization, but it was just executed poorly.
Correct.
With it. So,
yes. The Crystal Skulls are a very cool thing.
Right. They just didn't do it correctly. But anyway, so did you have any like favorite scene? I know you don't like the movie. We've established that, but were there any scenes that you liked that stood out to you as okay, this is actually a good element? Or no, it was all bad.
It was all bad. What's his name?
I'm just trying here, man.
No, I understand, and I'm not gonna give you anything.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna give you a terrible scene. I'm gonna give you the worst scene.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna flip it on you.
Sure.
What's the name of the monster that comes out of the volcano?
Rodan.
Okay, Rodan takes off from his volcano, swoops down over the city, and is flying so close that the air from his wings is blowing through the streets. Okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I could get that. Have you ever stood behind an airplane or been near one that's taking off? Like, there's a lot of wind that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Like, it could lift you off the ground.
Totally.
But just for, like, a second. Like, if you've ever seen those videos of people flying, it's just like a quick little second.
Sure.
People are holding on for dear life for like columns of buildings and like street signs, and it goes on for like 30 seconds to a minute, and they're just like, hold on, kid, don't let go. And like mom's holding on to a pole, and they're all like literally 90 degrees off the ground. Like the physics of it doesn't even make sense. Like they shouldn't be 90 degrees. They should have been like just kind of flopping in it, kind of like a flag.
Hey man, he had giant wings. Like I don't know.
He flapped it once and then was gone.
All right, here's a counterpoint to this, and I'm not a physicist. If we have any physicists listening, like, please type in the comments in our social media about this phenomenon. But they show Rodan catching up to jet fighters. So, assuming these jet fighters are doing Mach something, 1,000 miles an hour, 800, whatever it is, he catches up to them. Like, they're ahead of them, and he catches them and passes them. And he's able to knock them all out of the sky. So he's going incredibly fast.
Well, he's also
huge.
He's huge, yeah.
He's huge. And so he's flapping his wings, and that's causing a lot of turbulence.
I said that would happen, but I'm just saying for how long? Like
you didn't like the dramatic effect of it, that they were trying to go with the human character.
It was executed poorly.
Okay.
Like everything else, it was executed poorly.
I think it was one thing they spent... say they spent too much time on it and they didn't spend enough because we don't know who those people are.
You're right. It
They're
was just
just
the mom and a
random
kid, and then the two soldiers
and then
trying to
we
help
never
them.
see them again.
And that was it.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree.
What
with
was
that.
your favorite scene?
It was funny. Funnily enough, Rodan emerging from the volcano is one of my favorite ones.
When Rodan is destroying fighter jets.
Yeah.
That was the first time in the movie, and we're talking like an hour and a half into it, that I was finally like, oh, somebody's doing something cool. You know, like I was like, oh, the monster's doing something really cool right now.
So you had a CD liked.
I guess.
Okay.
But the CGI was terrible, so it took me out of it.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
The Rodan, basically all the monster reveals I thought were handled really well. So Rodan coming out of the volcano was great. Mothra's reveal in the beginning was really cool. And when she comes out of the cocoon in the waterfall, that was just a very beautiful, cinematically beautiful shot.
I think they could have done it. She was too bright. Like, she was a bright light. And so they were trying, and so she's supposed to be glowing and bright, and I agree. I think that's perfect. But she was so bright, you couldn't see her colors. Like how pretty her colors were.
Yeah.
They show that to us in the next scene when she's now meeting up with Godzilla.
Right.
I think they should have let us had the colors and just taken over the screen with how bright the colors were.
They never really show her during the daytime, so that I think contributes to that.
Yeah.
They wanted to concentrate on bioluminescence or whatever, which is very cool.
Yeah.
King Ghidorah is actually revealed too. I thought that was excellent. Now the human element was really dumb.
Super dumb.
So they're in Antarctica. And there's an underground base, and he's frozen in ice basically for 10,000 years, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they blow up some charges, and
they blow the ice so it cracks around him.
And he comes out.
And now he's awake.
So the whole human element of it was dumb, but his actual reveal, how it looked, I thought, and then Godzilla showing up, I thought that scene was spectacular.
Yeah.
We saw it a lot in the trailers, actually.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So I thought that was great.
Why did the soldiers stop running? They're running away. They're running away from the sinkhole.
That was so stupid.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, and these are monarch soldiers. So they know what they're dealing with.
Right.
And they don't run away from the giant monster. They just stand there and start shooting at it. Like, have they not been training for this their entire career with this company?
You know what's going to take Ghidorah down? This M16
this
that
M16,
I have.
right.
It's gonna really, or these tanks, they're going to just really take them down. Just one shot. That was a dumb element. You mentioned it before, bad CGI you thought in this film. I thought the CGI was not the best I've ever seen, but I thought it was good. I didn't think it was terrible.
It was good when it was only monsters. When everything had to be 100% CGI, so the only thing you're on screen, that's the buildings, that's the monsters, that's the sky, that's everything. That has to be CGI. That looked okay because you weren't taken away from it. Like, when you put a real person next to a CGI person, that's when you start seeing the CGI as being bad. Right. And that's what was happening, like, with the fighter jets and everything. They were CGI jets, but then there were people in the cockpits.
Right.
Like, because they were filmed talking on, the intercom stuff. So that really took me away from it at times.
One element of this film that, again, I think there's a lot of lost potential or unrealized potential with this in some senses. We talked about how the human character there's a lot of weak storytelling here, or incomplete storytelling. The mom character, though, who's basically an environmental terrorist. She's the one who sparks. Spoilers, but you already know this. She's the one who sparks this unleashing of the Titans.
Yeah.
It's her idea.
Yeah.
She's the one that gets that environmental terrorist group all the information they need to do this. She's a villain.
Yeah.
In the end, she kind of redeems herself. I think that if anything, that was a good character.
It was good. I think that
it was different than what you normally see.
Yeah. I mean, I think we had to have something like that to try to drive this type of story. I think the reason we have the human element in this movie is to kind of tell the story as it's progressing.
Right.
Like, why are they in Mexico now? Why are they in Antarctica? We get that because they're explaining it to us. But they just did it so poorly.
Yeah. It's the writing definitely needed work. It did. But I wanted to mention a positive aspect, I thought. Vera Farmiga is the actress's name. I think she was really good in this.
Yeah.
Given the relatively weak material. But... there's our review for Godzilla, King of the Monsters. One of us hated it. One of us liked it a lot. I'm excited for the next one, and I hope the Monsterverse continues.
I'm sure it will. I just hope that that Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong, however you want to say it, depending on who you root for.
Yeah. That could be a good versus movie.
Yeah. I think that one's going to come down. I really hope that they focus more on the big monsters, and not about the human element around the big monsters.
Yeah, and also half the world is already destroyed, so there's not much
Yeah.
left to destroy anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what are they gonna do?
What are they gonna do?
I guess they haven't gone to New York yet, so there's that. They destroyed San Francisco in the last one, Boston in this one.
Do you think they'll bring?
DC
Do you think they'll capture Kong and try to bring him to
New York?
the Americas instead of leaving him on Skull Island?
So, you know what I think is gonna happen? He's kind of trapped. Everyone knows that monkeys don't like water.
Right.
But Godzilla he loves the water. That's his element.
Right.
He can just go to that island
That's
for
my
whatever
thought.
reason.
That's my thought. I think it would be way better to have Godzilla go to the island.
Go to the island.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't have to destroy a city.
Right.
And that King Kong film again was beautiful. Like the cinematography of that was very well done in that film. So let's change gears and get to this week's round of Emperor Palpatine's lightning round. So Steven, what questions you got for me? What's the topic?
All right. On this week's episode of Emperor Palpatine's Lightning Round, the topic is Jean Grey from X-Men.
All right, this is not my strongest character, so I do not anticipate doing well in this one. But
it's okay. I thought it was a timely topic because the X-Men movie just came out as well.
Right.
So.
Right. Dark Phoenix.
Mm-hmm, Dark Phoenix. Yeah. Okay. Question 1. What was Jean Grey's original superhero name when she first was introduced in the 1960s?
So there's Jean Grey, Dark Phoenix. I feel like I know this, but
I'll give you a little hint.
Sure.
She wasn't as talented with superpowers as she is now when she was introduced in the 60s.
Yeah, I don't know.
Her superhero name was called Marvel Girl.
Oh, I actually did not know that.
Yeah.
That's not what I was
she was a relatively weak character with only telekinetic powers and no telepathic powers.
Oh. So they boosted her
They
power.
boosted her later. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
All right, question 2. Why did the X-Men writers introduce the Phoenix character?
Why? They needed one of the X-Men to turn bad.
That's not a bad theory. I like that. That's how I always thought it, but this is actually really interesting. Because you're wrong.
Thanks for pointing that out.
After the success of Thor becoming one of the most popular Avengers, they wanted an X-Men with incredible, limitless powers to try to win that success in X-Men, and it worked.
It worked.
It worked. That's when once Phoenix was introduced, that's when X-Men really took off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Did they give the year when she was, or is that one of the
No,
questions?
it wasn't written in there.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. All right, question 3. How great is the power of Phoenix?
She cosmic force level.
You're right, actually. She is referred to very often as the Planet Killer.
Yep.
So yeah, you're right.
I know she's super powerful.
Super powerful. She's the most powerful X-Men.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
I think she's supposed to be on the level or even more powerful than Silver Surfer. Now, the Marvel fans will know this. I don't. It's not my primary universe, but I'm thinking like Silver Surfer level or even Galactus level.
Yeah.
Maybe even better than that. And that's crazy powerful.
Right. Question 4. Phoenix and Jean Grey are not one. They are separate entities. What does she become when they fully merge into one entity?
Wow, I didn't know that. Well, I knew they're separate entities, but
at one point they merge together and they become one full entity. That entity has its own name.
Oh, I thought that entity was just Phoenix.
Yeah, no. Phoenix, Dark Phoenix is its own separate entity that kind of almost not the same, but almost kind of like Venom.
Right. Like
it's kind of consuming you and you work with it. And
I always just assumed that even when she got consumed by that force, it just became Phoenix, but I'm obviously wrong.
Well, when they finally merge together, she becomes the White Phoenix of the Crown.
Never heard that in my life.
Yeah.
I've never.
So her whole thing is white instead of black with the orange Phoenix on.
I think I've seen that image, like her suit.
That's typically because the story's been repeated a few times in different universes, and that's usually the end. That's the ultimate end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her full form. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Here's your favorite question. Question 5. In the Ranker.com top 100 superhero list, where does Jean Grey land?
Oh, God. I'm so off on every week. Just because it's worse and worse.
It does.
I'm going to say 30.
Not far. She's the 24th.
Okay.
Best superhero out of 100.
I was thinking, if anything, I had highballed her. I thought, if anything, she was going to be lower on the list. But
Wolverine is lower on the list. He's more popular than she is.
Less popular,
more popular.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, yeah, he's closer to 1 than
Got it.
she is.
Yeah. I figured that. So, Cool.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
All right, so obviously I failed this week pretty spectacularly. Hopefully next week so I'll get a character that I know. Thanks for listening, guys. Join us on next episode. Post every Wednesday. Follow us on all social media at the Porgcorner. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Leave comments. What did you think of Godzilla? What do you think of Jean Grey? How wrong am I? How wrong is Steven? Because he's really wrong about Godzilla. We know that. So follow us on all those and have a good one. Bye.